If you're in a relationship and your girl cheated on you, all right, I won't go that far. Just kidding. That's your fault. I came here to share a blueprint for creating the life of your wildest dreams. Look, I'm gonna tell you, there's one trait, just one trait that every successful person that has ever lived since the beginning of human time has in common. The key to setting your life on a trajectory, a bull run of parabolic explosive growth, people don't like to hear it. I love being able to do this, speak to groups of winners, people who are hungry for more. And look, the fact that you're here today, it's the middle of summer, it's Saturday, right? You guys all took the time to get dressed up. That tells me that you guys are looking and on the path to a better life. And I just wanted to make something very clear right out of the gate. You see, I'm somewhat of a fortune teller. I can see into the future. And I don't think she said that when she was introducing me, but it's true. And by the time I'm done speaking today, I will probably be your favorite speaker or the one that you hate the most. And listen, that's fine. Okay, I'm not for everybody. I do not claim to be. But I didn't come here today to win a popularity contest. I came here to share a blueprint for creating the life of your wildest dreams. You see, where you are right now, guys, is a direct result of a strategy. One that may be intentional or it might not be. But if here isn't good or here isn't good enough, then we have to change the strategy. Because guys, I'm not here to tell you my life story. I'm not here to talk about myself. I have a limited amount of time to deliver a lot of information. But one thing that you should know about me is this. I was born an orphan to a drug addict. My mother was a drug addict. I've been arrested over 20 times. Growing up, I was so poor that I used to steal dirty clothes out of the lost and found at school just so I had new clothes to wear. And listen, for a lot of years, I was a drug dealer. Today, I stand before you. I'm in the best shape of my life. I have an 8-figure net worth, and I'm the CEO of Nutrition Solutions, one of the fastest growing, hottest small businesses in the entire country. The things that I'm going to teach you today, I didn't read in a book. Okay, I lived it. So if I could ask you to please put your ego aside and receive today's message with an open heart and an open mind, I give you my word that it will change the trajectory of your life forever. Some of the things that I'm gonna say, guys, all right, it's gonna be real, it's gonna be raw, it'll make you uncomfortable at times, and it's definitely going to piss some of you off. But that's kind of the point. I want you to get pissed off because getting pissed off is actually a fantastic thing because explosive growth does not happen from a place of comfort. It happens when you are no longer willing to tolerate the circumstances of your life and you draw a line in the sand and make the conscious decision to raise your standards. Today, guys, we're going to talk about self-mastery, and self-mastery is the process of aligning your mind, body, and spirit in harmony with your highest self. It is the process of mastering oneself through intention, systems, and purpose-driven action. And guys, I'm gonna share with you some things that I have done over the last 10 years because I started my self-mastery journey. I committed to self-mastery, I should say, just 10 years ago. So I'm gonna do my best to consolidate 10 years of lessons into a 60-minute discussion. And I'm gonna share with you some very practical, direct action steps that you can take, that anyone can take, to bridge the gap between who you are now and who the fuck you were put on this planet to be. So let's get to work. All right, by a show of hands, I need you guys to help me out with something. How many people here work for a company or work within a business? Okay, and how many entrepreneurs in the room? Got it. So this might actually surprise some of you to hear, but personally, I do not believe the world is hard up or in need for more entrepreneurs and visionaries. And I'm going to expand upon that in just a moment. But I want you guys to understand that business is hard. And building a successful business, statistically speaking, is basically impossible. To just put that into perspective, I'm going to share a few stats to help draw awareness to what it is that I just said. 90% of all startups fail. Of the ones that make it through that 2 to 3 year startup phase, okay? Only 4% will ever cross $1 million in annual revenue. And out of that slim percentage of people, again, that make it through those brutal startup years, 75% of them will not exist come year 10. So when you hear that 98% of startups fail, understand that building a business from scratch with no existing infrastructure, right? The startup phase is typically 2 to 3 years, depending on the industry. So if 100 people start a business, okay, in a few years, how many are going to be left, right? Maybe a handful. There's going to be a handful left. And out of that small group, maybe one will ever make any real money. And everybody else, well, I don't know if there's anybody in here who's ever failed at a business, but failing at a business is the least sexy thing that you can ever do. A bankruptcy, right? Wrecked confidence, destroys your credit. I mean, look, you're going to lose respect for yourself. You're going to lose confidence. And then the worst part, the reintegration process back into modern day slavery, also known as working a 9-to-5 desk job in corporate America. But that's just the reality. Business is tough. So many people underestimate how difficult it is. The stress, the discipline, the consistent effort that is required to sustain and survive through those early years and then well beyond. So I mentioned that I didn't believe the world needs more entrepreneurs and visionaries, because what I believe we desperately need is more individuals who are on a journey of self-mastery to come into companies, treat it like their own, find ways to add value and improve on the existing infrastructure within. Because you're in a much better position to do that without all the paralyzing stress that one experiences as an entrepreneur. Because guys, becoming successful at anything, whether we're talking about building a successful business or becoming successful within a business, it's going to require that you continue to put in pressure, that you keep learning, you keep evolving, you keep improving. And I want to just ask a question, and please just go ahead and call out the answer if you know it. Very simple question. This is a layup. Who here thinks that if you show up and do your best for a very long time, that's something, whatever that thing is, that eventually you'll become pretty good at it? How many people think that's the case? Understood. So I have a follow-up question. How many of you in this room can read? Show of hands. Way up. Ah, that's great. Get a sharp group here today, Eddie. With that said, how many of you can speed read? And just so you guys understand, speed reading is basically the ability to read one page in about 5 to 6 seconds and retain all the information that you consume. That's what speed reading is. How many of you can do that? We got half of one person here. All right, cool. So look, if simply doing your best and showing up, doing something for a long time was actually the recipe for greatness, wouldn't we have a room full of world champion speed readers? I mean, half the room would be Michelin star chefs, and all of us would be world-class public speakers. But the fact is, self-mastery isn't about doing your best. It's about doing things the best way that it can be done. Two completely different mentalities entirely. Because guys, understand, doing your best isn't enough. Because your best is going to suck in the beginning. Your best is not going to get the result, but you have to continue to show up and do your best regardless, with a good attitude, and most importantly, with the intention of making your best better. Because that's what self-mastery is, guys. It is dedicating yourself to evolving and doing things the best way that it can be done, to where you are able to experience life from a perspective that very few ever will. And the difference, guys, between elite professionals and amateurs comes down to a few main things, right? But like on a high level, talking about lifestyle, habits, how they spend their time, how they manage their time, the people that they surround themselves with, okay, the media they let in their mind, all those things, that's high level. But really what all those things are is it's a direct byproduct, a subsidiary of the main thing, which is frequency. Because guys, peak performance and elevated consciousness go hand in hand. And your frequency is basically your operating system. Okay, it's your operating system. And the beautiful part about our operating system and the algorithm that drives it is it can be hacked. It can be reprogrammed. And the really great part about our operating system as human beings is we have unlimited upgrade potential available to us. But this is why intentionality is so important. We have to set our life up in such a way where we have clear targets in mind, because that is a peak performance. I mean, that's the peak performance hack of the pros. You have to have a target in mind, guys. You have to know where you're going, because it's pretty easy to go absolutely nowhere if you do not have a destination in mind. Not to mention, it's exhausting, because you can sprint on a treadmill all day and you'll be tired, but that doesn't mean you're making any progress. And elite professionals make progress a non-negotiable, and they're intentional about getting better. And the way that they're able to facilitate that and make it look effortless is by creating systems and following a routine that basically forces the result that they're after. You see, amateurs will look at high-performance individuals and think that they're just born that way, right? They're naturally driven, have more motivation. We're born with some quality that is unavailable to most people, but science has actually disproved that. I'm going to expand upon that in just a few seconds. But guys, at the end of the day, the difference between professionals and amateurs comes down to the time spent honing one's craft and the urgency displaced toward becoming the best at whatever it is you do. Now, I mentioned the science, and the 10,000-hour rule, some of you guys have probably heard of it. But it's basically a principle that says it takes roughly 10,000 hours to become elite at most skills. 10,000 hours of dedicated practice. And this was a principle that was extrapolated from a 1993 study. I believe it was published in the Journal of Psychology Review by a guy called K. Anders Ericsson. I appreciate you writing that down, but the name of the psychologist that did the study is fucking irrelevant, right? But what is important is what this study suggested, because it debunked the idea that elite performance is not a result of being born gifted or naturally talented, and that peak performance is actually a byproduct of consistent effort, intentionality, and purpose-driven learning over the course of the long run. The bottom line, guys, anybody who has ever become great at anything became great by putting in more reps, more focused hours, more dedication, more sacrifice, more consistency. And the reality is, guys, you might not, you're hearing these things that I'm saying. Get a sip of water here. Hydration is important. Everybody take a sip of your water. You guys might be hearing this and be like, well, fuck, I ain't like that, right? I don't have these clear, specific, measurable goals with deadlines. I don't have these systems and these processes. Like, I understand that. Hence why I'm here today. Because I'm going to share with you guys, 5 laws for frequency elevation. And when these 5 laws are applied synergistically, they create the blueprint for self-mastery. But please understand that setting the target, whatever that goal is, it has to be clear, it has to be measurable, it has to have a deadline. The more specific, the better. And then you set up a routine, you set up a system or multiple systems that basically ease the process and lower the barrier of resistance to streamline you going from where you are to where it is that you want to be. And you repeat this process indefinitely. You systematize your life to produce the outcomes that you want. And this is not what most people do, right? Most people wake up every day at the last possible minute, throw themselves together, rush to work, right? They rush in at the last possible minute. They leave at the first possible minute. They're not organized. They're not going into a day with intentionality. They don't operate with progress in mind. And that's the difference, guys. If you want to change your life, we got to change the way that we move. So another key distinguishing factor between high performance individuals is they lean into accountability and they're constantly analyzing performance, constantly looking for ways to get better and improve. We look at, or you think about the best professional athletes from our generation, guys like Tom Brady, LeBron James, Floyd Mayweather, Tiger Woods even. They didn't just show up on game day, or they didn't just show up on fight day and just get in there and just do whatever. Their performance and the greatness that they've achieved in their respected disciplines was a result of the work that they put in when no one else was watching. Because guys, you will always be rewarded in public for what it is that you do in private. You will always be rewarded in public for what it is that you do in private. The two most valuable resources available to us as human beings are time and mental energy. Now, the reason so many people struggle to advance, the reason change is so difficult for most people, right? The reason so many people will start something, get better for a little while, but then end up regressing back to their old, shitty, familiar ways isn't because they're undeserving. It's not because they're unworthy. It's because they don't have the right systems in place and the energy that's needed to get them through that initial resistance that we all will face at the beginning of any new journey. So we got to fix that. We got to operate with intentionality. We got to create systems, and we have to set our actions up in such a way where winning is the only outcome. So look, I'm going to tell you, there's one trait, just one trait that every successful person that has ever lived since the beginning of human time has in common. And that's the fact that they take ownership over every area of their life. And there's one trait that every unsuccessful person who has ever lived has in common. And that's the fact that they do not. Guys, taking ownership, this is the first law of self-mastery. And this is the most important one. Because if this is not applied, none of the other things matter. None of the other things work. You have to own it all. You have to be willing to take responsibility for the good, the bad, and everything that happens to fall in between. Okay, taking ownership means you're taking control. It means you are making the conscious decision to be in the driver's seat of your own life. And when you don't take ownership, when you deflect, when you make excuses, when you blame other people or other things, not only is that shit just so, keep those people the fuck away from me, first of all. But when you do that, you're making yourself a victim. And here's the thing about operating from a state and a frequency of victimization. Growth is impossible, not to mention it kills your happiness. If you see yourself as a victim, even if you're not like an egregious, loud, kind of wearing your problems on your sleeve like a badge of honor type victim, if you posture yourself as a victim, make excuses about why things aren't going the way that you want them to go, understand that you give up control. And the circumstances of your life that are not how you want them to be, nothing is going to change because you haven't accepted responsibility over that situation or over that problem. Taking responsibility doesn't mean necessarily more stress or it's going to be more difficult. People think that taking responsibility, like it's a bad thing. There's just a bad stigma that's attached to it. And the opposite is actually true. Because when you take responsibility, life gets a hell of a lot easier. Because being responsible simply means that you are response-able. It means that when you got some problem going on or there's just all-out chaos that is broken out in your life, you know exactly what to do, right? When everyone else is freaking out, looking for somebody to hide behind, hitting the panic alarm, you step forward and you take control because you're very comfortable in those situations because you understand that if it's touching your life, it's affecting your life in any way, shape, or form, it does not matter whose fault it is, guys, but it is in fact your responsibility to sort it out. The key to setting your life on a trajectory, a bull run of parabolic explosive growth, people don't like to hear it, but you have to make everything your fault. If you're not proud of how your body looks naked, it's not your genetics. It is not your bum knee from the volleyball accident when you were in middle school. Okay, it's not your thyroid. It is the fact that you're treating your body like a garbage disposal and you're not working out enough. It's very simple. That's your fault. Fix it. If you're not making the money that you want to make, that's your fault. Because clearly you have not spent the time that is needed working on your personal development. You're not sharpening your sword. You are not learning new skills. You're not becoming more competent and capable so you are then able to bring more value to the marketplace. Because the only way for you to get paid more is to bring more value. And in order to bring more value, you have to be more valuable. Again, guys, where you're at now, the way your life looks, your body, your bank account, all these things, like this is a direct byproduct of your current operating system. So if you want things to change, things need to change. And this last one, fellas, brace for impact. If you're in a relationship and your girl cheated on you, all right, I won't go that far. Just kidding. That's your fault. Look, that's your fault. And I know it stings. I'm going to let it kind of marinate for a moment. But the truth is, you clearly were not fulfilling your role and responsibility as a man. And if you did all the right things, awesome. But you clearly failed to assess her character. That's on you. And you have to see it that way. Because the failure to do so, how are you going to learn? And how are you going to grow? And how are you going to move on from that experience? Make everything your fault. And winning is a guarantor. So guys, let's understand that is the first and most important law, is taking full responsibility over everything. Without that, none of these other things matter. The second law is to build a body that you're proud of. Build a body that commands respect. And the way that you do that is by doing hard things daily. Because guys, we talk about the failure rate for businesses and entrepreneurs. We talk about look at the sheer number of people that become successful anyway, right? It's not very many. Not many people wind up being successful because it's hard. It's hard and you're going to be a little crazy. You have to be willing to go through long periods of time where you hate the things that you have to do, but you have to show up and you have to do it, nevertheless, with a fantastic attitude. Most people can't do that. Most people can't do that because stress shuts them down. It completely changes the way their brain works because they haven't conditioned themselves. They're not used to the adversity. They're not used to doing hard things. But when we seek out to do hard things, when we seek out to do really hard workouts, cold plunges, saunas, long runs, intense cardio, when we seek out to do things that make us very uncomfortable, we not only get in better shape, we not only get a lot healthier, right? But also, we condition our resolve. We build fortitude, we build grit, we build mental toughness. And if you were to ask me directly why I believe so many business owners don't make it and can't survive that brutal startup phase, I would simply answer that I believe it comes down to a lack of mental toughness. So by proactively putting you in those situations, you're not only going to build a body that you're proud of, which is going to give you a ton of confidence, looking better naked is something, it's pretty awesome, right? When you actually look in the mirror and you see a reflection that you're proud of, because it makes you more confident. It's not the body in and of itself, it's what the body allows you to do. Because through fitness, you learn some very important lessons. And I believe there's a direct parallel between becoming successful with fitness and becoming successful with anything else. Because it's the exact same process that needs to be followed to experience success on one's fitness journey that is required to experience success in any other area of life. You gotta work hard, right? You have to be disciplined, and then you have to do those things consistently. And by doing so, you make progress. You get results, but then also something really interesting happens. You develop a new neurological connection in your brain. You start to understand that through the process of hard work, discipline, and consistency, that's where the magic happens. And now that discipline and that confidence that you've cultivated, because the fitter and stronger you are, the more disciplined and confident you become. You now have those. Those are weapons that you have in your arsenal, in your toolbox, that can be deployed and used at any given time and pointed at any other area of your life that you're looking to conquer. So part of this discussion is the need to create systems and implement routines that allow us to force the outcomes that we're after. And I want to just help you guys understand when I say systems and I'm talking about processes, I want to just give some examples so we're all on the same page. So a system could be something as simple as automating your bills. Okay, I automate all my bills, I automate all my investments, all the supplements I take, recurring subscription. They show up on the same day of the month, every single month without fail. My paper towels, my toiletries. I don't want to spend any time or mental energy on things that really are not important. I want to conserve as much bandwidth so I'm able to operate from this high frequency, which puts me in an elevated state of consciousness that makes me more capable. I want to spend my time on things that are high value, high priority, and require my unique skill set. I spend zero time on things that don't matter or don't move the needle. So whether we're talking about that, whether we're talking about having somebody come mow my grass or clean my house every week. It's a system. It happens. I don't think about it. The money gets taken out of my account. I have an immaculate house. Our business is in immaculate condition because all these things influence your frequency. All of them influence your frequency. And just to give a high level example of this, if you guys walk into a space and it stinks and it's dirty and it's messy and like it looks like you need a tetanus shot after you leave, you don't feel like you're not really feeling very good in that dynamic. Am I right? But if you walk into a space that's clean, meticulously organized, smells good, like you just kind of feel better, right? You guys feel better when your home is clean and when your vehicle is clean. It doesn't feel as good when, you have clothes all over the floor, dishes piling up in the sink. All of these things influence frequency. And again, guys, we need to do everything we can. We got to get all of that energy back. All of these little opportunities to reclaim this energy. This is what's going to put us in an elevated state to become the people that we're put on this planet to be. But it starts with the little things. My morning routine is a system. Okay, it's designed to help put me in a state of elevated consciousness. It is designed for peak performance. I'm going to get up in the morning, I'm going to do a cold plunge, and I'm going to work out every day. That's what I do. Okay, 7 days a week. It's a system. So that's what happens every single time. I get up at the same time every day. I go to bed not at the same time every night, unfortunately. Got to work on that. But I then will plan my day, right? I'll look at the critical tasks that need to be accomplished for that day. I'm going to review my goals, and I'm going to spend some time reading. Right? While I'm doing cardio, I get an audiobook on because I got to put good information in my mind, guys, because that's the next law, is you have to spend time every day improving yourself because personal development is unequivocally the most important work of your life. There's nothing that's more important. Personal development is to the mind what fitness is to the body. Again, guys, your current ways of doing things got you here. So think of personal development as an opportunity to change your thinking. Because to get to the next level, to create a life that most people will never experience, it's going to require that you unlearn a lot of shit. That's what I had to do, guys. I was able to change my life and create my reality through intention, systems, and reprogramming my mind. And the person I am today, I will tell you, is a direct result of the books that I've read. See, when I was a drug dealer looking for a way out, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't think I could do anything. I had this victim mindset. Of course, I wasn't aware of that, which, by the way, little side note, there's one thing that basically 100% of people who live life with a victim mindset, there's one thing that those people all have in common. Does anybody know what that is?
Trauma.
What? All those things are true. But the one universal quality they all have about them is they're unaware of the fact that they have a victim mindset, right? So again, this is a process of elevating consciousness, of exposing yourself to information that is going to challenge our conventional beliefs. Because unless you grew up with wildly successful parents who had an abundance mindset and a growth mindset and were peak performance individuals on a self-mastery journey, you were not conditioned to any of this growing up. So again, we got to retrain ourselves. We got to retrain our mind, reprogram our mind. And again, guys, this is the most important work of your life. So doing it every day must be a non-negotiable. When I talk about personal development, reading books, listening to audiobooks, coming to something like this. But understand, this is the easy part. Like, this is the fun part. You also got to put in time improving your skill set, developing an enhanced level of competency, learning new skills. Because at its core, not only is personal development going to teach you how to think differently, it's going to make you more valuable so you in turn can bring more value. Because you're going to make more money. You have to make more money. And I don't care what you do. I don't care how much you're making right now. You need to be striving to make more because self-mastery is about constantly evolving, constantly improving. And it's not about making more money. It's what that actually signifies, what that's evidence of. It's the evidence of the fact that you're growing. It's evidence of the fact that you're getting better and you are evolving. So making money is just a natural consequence of personal growth. But in order to do that, guys, like super important, well, let me just give you a low-hanging fruit opportunity. You guys want to make more money like quick? Get in the best shape of your life. If you get in the best shape of your life, you'll have more energy, you'll feel more confident, you'll be operating from a just different level of consciousness, because when you train hard, push yourself, get really uncomfortable, the human reward system is set up to basically reward that type of behavior. The more uncomfortable or difficult something is, the better you feel after the fact. And I'm not talking about the better you feel once you get in great shape. I'm talking about the blood flow, the endorphins, the chemical process that happens in the brain, and all the good shit that's delivered to the body as a result of hard physical training and intense exercise. And when you make more money through getting in better shape, it's not just because, well, if you work at my company, I guess you could, right? Because we give our team six-pack bonuses. They get a six-pack. Most companies don't have that, but the tangible reason that you're going to get more money factually when you're in better shape is because you have more energy, you're going to be operating at a higher level, and all these things are measurable, but this one's not. This one's kind of difficult for some people to fathom, and a lot of people don't like to hear it, but when you're in better shape, people respect you more. They respect you more because it is obvious that you respect yourself. And if you're in business and you're wanting to be successful at whatever it is you do, or be successful in whatever business, you want to be trusted by clients, by customers, by your team. Look, if you walk in, and you're a fat piece of shit, and you're sloppy, and your shit's untucked, how on earth could you possibly expect them to trust you? You want people to trust you with their money? You want people to give you an opportunity when clearly you're not able to trust yourself with your own health. Guys, your health is the single most important thing that you have, and it needs to be prioritized. And also, guys, we need to understand, and I think COVID really woke us up to this fact, being healthy doesn't mean not being sick. Okay, being healthy requires intentionality. Being fit requires purpose-driven action. So I don't want to give a nutrition seminar up here, right? Because we don't have a lot of time. But I need you guys to understand that if you're not weight training and you're not following a high protein diet, this is a fact now. We can debate about it later if you'd like. Your body will never look the way that you want it to. So most of you, like, your issue is your relationship with food. In order to build a better body, you actually have to give your body what it needs to grow and to facilitate that response. The best way, guys, to lose fat, which is what most people need to do in this country, look around the airport. That's when you're really confronted with the sad state of affairs that is our current society. But the best way to actually lose fat is to build muscle. Because when you build muscle, you basically elevate your body's ability to burn calories when you're sitting down or sleeping. So, look, if you guys are actually interested in wanting to know like some tangible, practical action steps that will allow you to get in fantastic physical condition very quickly, you can email somebody from my company, Dominate@Nutrition Solutions, ask them for the cheat codes. So we have a cheat codes for fitness transformation template that we give to our clients. Okay, I'll hook you guys up. But this is honestly, it's a playbook. It's free. There's nothing, you don't have to buy anything. And it's basically like 7 rules that if you follow, you will get in the best shape of your life, and it'll happen quickly. So, but little things, guys, with fitness to set ourselves up to get the results that we're after. Like I work out twice a day, 6 days a week. And I do that not because I want to look a certain way, right? I do it because how great it makes me feel. And to make that process easier, I have a gym at my home. I have a gym at our business, right? For my team to use, for me to use. I have a sauna, a cold plunge, all these things. I have these things set up because I want to make the process of being in the best shape of my life, to be the most optimized version of myself. I want to make it seamless. I want to lower the barrier of resistance because, look, when you're chasing greatness and you're on a self-mastery journey, like, you got to do everything in your power to save time. And another thing that I do, guys, to save time is I pay my barber $175 a week to come to my house and cut my hair. Now, if you're a man, especially one with a haircut like this, there is no haircut that is worth $175. But the time that it saves me, the energy that it saves me, not having to be in the barbershop and listen to some of these morons talk about what normal people talk about. Like, I don't have to be around that, and I save that mental energy. And again, guys, I'm trying to help you understand that to bridge the gap between where you are now and where you want to be, it is going to require you develop a purposeful action plan to reclaim all of the energy that you're just carelessly wasting and pissing away doing dumb shit that does not matter. Another example of a process that I have with my business, guys. So our business, right? Any business, there's three main pillars. Any business is really like three businesses in one, right? You have operations, you have finance, and then you have marketing and advertising. And in our case, I also create content for my company, and I haven't missed a social media post in 3 years. I have not gone a single day where I've missed a social media post in 3 days. Now, how did I do that? Well, it wasn't because I'm on social media all the time, because I'm not. I have a team that edits my videos and posts for me. I spend no time thinking about editing, thinking about what to write in the caption, or thinking about what time to post. And I pay them a lot. Look, they're getting paid over 6 figures a year, but that 6 figures is an investment that has generated over 7 figures for me annually since I hired them, right? The traffic that funnels in to our business. So this is an example of a system, right? Meeting with my team, meeting with my key players in each department, focusing on the measurable goals and KPIs that we have in place, keeping people focused on the things that matter most. Okay, I share my goals with my team. Guys, accountability is important, right? You want to put yourself out there. You want to put your own back against the wall, because with accountability, you're a lot more likely to kind of push through those last uncomfortable moments and go harder. If you haven't reached that target, but you put it out there and your team knows that this is what you said, well, you're going to figure out a creative solution to get the outcome that you're after. So making everything transparent, sharing it, leaning into accountability wherever I can. But the bottom line, guys, is the systems that you have in place will make all of these things that might seem like insurmountable at this time a hell of a lot easier to actually facilitate and make happen. So we're going to take ownership. We're going to create systems and set targets that basically allow us to get where we want to be. Guys, again, I'm going to say it again. A lot of things I'm going to revisit because it's important. If you haven't written this down, please understand that goals are mandatory. If you want to advance your current position, you have to have a target in mind. And a goal isn't, I'm going to lose weight. The goal isn't, I need to make more money. That's not a goal. Okay? Saying, I want to lose 30 pounds and have a six-pack by December 1st, that's a goal. Saying that by April 15th of next year, I'm going to be making 150 grand a year, that's a goal. It's clear, it's specific, and it is measurable. So, set targets, create systems, build a body that commands respect, spend time every single day bettering yourself. The last law, this one's important. You need to remove everything and everyone that doesn't add value. You need to remove everything and everyone that doesn't add value. Habits, vices, just the way you're organizing yourself, what you're spending time on, who you're spending it with. And also understand, guys, you know you're doing it right. When you commit to personal development and you're on the self-mastery journey, like, things might not happen as quickly as you'd like, especially if you're in it, right? You might not be able to see just how significantly your life has changed and circumstances have evolved. But one thing that you need to be mindful of and expect, because it's happening, it's not a matter of if, it is absolutely a matter of when, is you're going to lose people on the journey. You're going to realize that people who you think would, and theoretically probably should, people who should support you, people who should have your back, people who should actually be happy for you changing your life, you're going to see that they don't. And the usual suspects are your friends, your family, the people that you've known the longest. Super normal. This is an organic consequence of personal growth. And I need you to promise me that you will spend zero energy and zero time, because those are our two most valuable resources. We do not get those back. Okay, I need you to spend no time at all wondering or worrying or trying to win them over to your way of thinking. Okay? It doesn't matter. You're here, they're here, literally. You guys started together. But as you ascend, as you grow, as you become something more, you just have to let nature take its course. Because you cannot go to the next level and take everything with you where you're currently at. It's simply not possible. The journey is so difficult. It's so difficult that it's going to require everything you have and then some. You can't waste energy trying to drag losers up the hill, guys. You cannot do it. Instead, look at this as feedback. The universe is giving you objective, real-time feedback that you're on the path. What you're doing, your current strategy, is working. The fact that you're losing people is indicative of that. Now, it's not going to feel good, right? It's not going to feel good to be a little annoying, especially when you have people who turn on you, right? Who are talking shit about you. People who you've done so much for. And now they're dragging your name through the mud. That ain't going to feel good. Again, we spend no time wondering or worrying about it. However, we're going to take note. We're going to remember how they made us feel. We're going to remember what they said or whatever they did. We're going to take a receipt. We're going to put that in the bag. We'll save that for later. Removing everything and everyone that doesn't add value gives you the opportunity just to be clearer, to be lighter, to move more fluidly as you make your ascension. Because guys, in order to make room for better, you have to get rid of all the things right now that are low frequency, low value activities. And to name a couple, scrolling on social media, right? The content that you're consuming. What are you putting in your brain? What are you putting in your brain? Is it helping you get better? Or is it draining you, lowering your frequency, and just consuming endless amounts of mental resources? Right, guys, like porn, not a good idea. I don't get the porn thing. Don't get it. There's never been a time that anybody's ever watched porn and after the fact felt so good about themselves, went, dapped it up, right? Their mom, hey, how's your day going? Oh, amazing, you've never guessed what I just did. Nobody does that. And the reason nobody does that is because it's a shameful behavior. It's not good. And I realize that a lot of people aren't aware of that. They don't see the harm in it. But the bottom line is, guys, how we spend our time and where we allocate our energy determines where we go. And porn, watching porn, objectively, and it's been scientifically proven, it lowers your testosterone, it tanks your mental health because it depletes your dopamine, and it psychologically rewires your brain to be turned on, not by the actual act, but by watching the actual act from strangers through a portable device. It's a weird thing. It's a weird thing. And again, if we're trying to become the best version of ourselves, we just have to think, would my highest self be staring into a phone doing whatever, and just don't do it. And look, if this is one of those things that trigger you, and I know some of you are fucking holding it in right now. I know it, and that's fine. I get it, but take it from somebody who did it. I went through this process. I realized, like, I don't know why I'm doing this. Like, I can't think of a single time that I actually felt good about it after. And then when I cut it out of my life about 6 years ago, there was an immediate uptick in my frequency. So again, guys, all these opportunities, we've got to reclaim them early and often. And removing people. Guys, here's the thing about the people in your life. We've all heard, right, that we're the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. But the reason you hear that so much is because it's true. It's true. The people in your life are factually either making your life better or making your life worse. There's no middle ground. And I think everybody kind of understands that to a certain degree. Yet, so many people still have losers around. Like, this is not a wise strategy. Guys, where you're going, again, it's going to require that you change a lot of things. And that's a really interesting point to make, because amateurs, right, they will claim that they're doing their best. They'll say that they're doing their best. And, they're not making any progress, of course, but they're doing their best, right? And they get frustrated, stagnated. Ultimately, they quit and then start the cycle all over again. Okay, they're doing their best, but they're not willing to change the behavior to produce a different outcome. So again, if producing a different outcome is what you're after, then we got to change the behavior. So look, that is at a very high level, okay? Extremely high level. The 5 laws to elevate frequency. Now, I know it's a lot, and I want to save a little bit of time for Q&A. But what I'm going to recommend that you guys do today, it's a lot of information that you're hearing from me, that you're hearing from the other speakers, that you're going to hear after I get done. Take 2 to 3 things, okay? 2 to 3 things that stick out for you from this talk and implement them. And reclaim that energy. Transcend your frequency. Understand now that you're in an elevated state because you applied those 2 to 3 things. You're going to have more energy. You're going to be operating from a completely different frequency, which is going to give you the ability to come back and then stack more things on top of it. And stack more things on top of it. Hopefully this gets put on YouTube, so at any given time, you guys can go and revisit it. Because whether it's a book that had a significant impact on you or a talk or podcast, whatever the case is, understand as you go through this process and elevate your frequency and evolve and become something more, going back and revisiting things that had a significant impact on you, it's going to be like reading or listening or experiencing something that you never had before because, well, you're not the same. You're a different person. So understanding the most important thing with any of this, guys, is not the information and understanding these things. It's the execution, because the payoff is, in fact, always on the other end of the execution. Now, look, our time here, sadly, is coming to an end. But before I get out of here, I wanted to give you a gift. And should you choose to accept it, you will immediately elevate your frequency, heighten your consciousness, and when you walk out of here today, you'll never be the same again. Guaranteed. But I have to fair warn you, what I want to give you, it'll be very difficult to accept. So guys, look, I just need you to be honest with me. I need you to be just a little vulnerable. Please, help me help you. By a show of hands, how many of you have ever been fucked over? How many of you have been deceived, lied to, manipulated, had your heart broken? Okay, how many people here in this room have ever been betrayed by someone that you would have died for? Nice. Good. That's good. It's most of the room. Because all you guys, actually, you have a very unique opportunity. You have an opportunity to immediately transcend. But in order to do that, in order for you to walk out of here and be forever changed, you need to let that shit go. You need to let it all the way go. You need to reach a point where when you think about that person or that situation, you're indifferent, it doesn't matter. Or maybe you're a little grateful, right? Maybe you're a little grateful though, because of the life lessons and the wisdom that you gained from that experience. But holding a grudge, being bitter, resentful, or malevolent towards another human being is one of the, if not the single most irresponsible thing you can do on a self-mastery journey. Because when you have hate in your heart towards another human being, it's like drinking poison but expecting them to die. Okay, it's not wise. Because that energy that you have, you might think that you're directing it towards them, but you're not projecting it towards them. It's living within you. It's slowly draining your energy, and it is fucking your shit up without you even knowing. You have no idea how much more energy you would have if you just released that grudge, let go, and just learn to forgive. Forgive, but don't forget. I'm not telling you to forget. In fact, I insist that you do not. Because guys, understand that forgiveness is not about the other person. It's about you. It's an opportunity for you to reclaim control. It's an opportunity for you to break free of the chains of victimization that are holding you back and keeping you stuck. And look, this isn't an easy thing to do. I completely understand. Right now, you guys are thinking, well, yeah, that sounds great, and I know I should do that. You know you should do it, right? You know you should, but it's there. How do you just turn something off? How do you just turn that switch off? It's been there for so long. How do you just let something that affected you so significantly, how do you just forget? You don't forget. And you can't switch it off. You have to redirect it. You have to use it. And you have to let it fuel massive productive action. And look, I hate to say it, but you need to torture them. You need to torture everyone who's wronged you, everyone who has ever doubted you. Torture them with your endless fucking wins. And guys, please, don't block them. No. We don't block our haters. We do not block the people who fucked us. We're going to let them watch. We're going to give them front row seats as we ascend and grow without limits. Okay, you want revenge? That's the move. That's what you need to do. Guys, understand that you'll have to forgive your drug addict mother for abandoning you when you were born. You'll have to forgive your father for not wanting to be part of your life. You're going to have to forgive the people who were supposed to be taking care of you, but instead abused you when you were just a child. You're going to have to forgive the other kids for making you feel less than human because you didn't have a lot of money growing up. You're going to have to forgive that friend who tried to destroy your life. And most importantly, you're gonna have to figure out how to forgive yourself. You have to forgive yourself for the mistakes you've made and all the time that you have fucking wasted over and over again to this point. You'll have to do all of that because that's what I had to do. And guys, it changed my life in ways that you cannot possibly comprehend. So look, you want to get back at that person who fucked you over in business? Fine. Go make a shit ton of money and become great at whatever it is that you do. You want to settle the score with that person who stuck a knife in your back? Cool, you'll get no argument from me. Elevate your frequency and become so wildly successful that you forget that they even fucking exist. And look, you really want to get revenge against your ex for what they put you through? Okay, but do it the right way. Build a body that you're proud of naked, fix your confidence, and go meet the love of your life. That's the move, guys. But I need you to promise me that you will not spend one more day, not a single moment, allowing another human being to have that degree of control over your life. Because also, forgiveness is an opportunity for you to restore order in your own mind. Guys, this journey you're on, this path of self-mastery, so many amazing things are going to happen for you, and I can't wait for you to experience that. But I need you to understand that if building a life that other people draw inspiration from, if that's actually what it is that you want to do, like understand it is going to be hard as fuck. It's going to be hard as fuck, and you need to learn to like it. You need to learn to like it because you're going to be tested early and often. Okay, the universe needs to make sure that you are in fact deserving and worthy of going to the next level. And life is going to attack, and it's going to happen without mercy and when you least expect it to. So when the fight is on and you find yourself in a position where you're in so much pain that you would rather die than take another step forward, I want you to pull out those receipts. All the people that doubted you, all the people that betrayed you, all the people who for years smiled to your face while secretly hoping, secretly wishing that you'll fail. Recognize that there's nothing, I mean nothing, that would make those motherfuckers happier than seeing you give up. We cannot let that happen. I won't allow it. No, you're gonna get up. You're gonna remember who the fuck you are. You're gonna recall that you are in fact responsible, and you're gonna think of a very special person. You're gonna think about that someone who's in heaven looking down, who doesn't want you to quit. And whatever you do, don't let them down. And that's all I have for you today, guys. Thank you. Well, look, Eddie, can I take a few questions? We got some time here?
Yeah.
All right, guys, look, I'd love to, boom. Do you have a question, my man? Yeah, stand up.
You're talking about reading books. I always like to go home with actionable steps.
Yeah. I'll do better than that. If you go to chriscavallini.com, I have a book list on there. It's like the top 50, and it's segmented by categories: mindset, finance, leadership, etc. It's very organized. You go to
your top three.
My top three for me, at the beginning of my journey, I read a book called Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life by Brian Tracy that changed my life immensely. It was, without question, the most impactful, because at that time where I was, I needed to recalibrate my thinking. And I'll just quickly tell you, one of the things that it made me realize, this book, Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life. Guys, I didn't, microphone, am I not speaking loudly enough? Is this thing on? All right, cool. One of the things that probably resulted in me putting that at the top of the food chain as far as the books that I've read a lot of books, is when I was reading this book, it made me realize something really profound. See, I told you guys I didn't have a father growing up, and in fact, I actually met my father for the first time 5 years ago. And the reason that happened is because when I was reading this book, it made me realize that all this hate and resentment and bitterness that I had towards him was just a fabricate. It was an excuse. It was an excuse that I was making. I had daddy issues. Fucking guy wasn't even around. How could I have daddy issues? Yeah. Right? So this made me realize that. And it was very powerful for me to have that revelation because it made me begin to realize that I needed to kind of analyze some of my own thoughts and behaviors and recognize that a lot of the things that I was thinking weren't my own thoughts. They were put there. I was programmed by a bitter, resentful mother who clearly hadn't gotten over that. So that really helped me change the trajectory of my life. Some other book, I mean, we're in a business, I guess for the most part, extreme ownership is good for a leadership perspective. If you're an employee at a company, Linchpin by Seth Godin, that basically is going to kind of teach you some practical action steps on how you can bring immediate value to the workplace. I would say those are my top three, but if you ask me in 5 minutes, my answer would probably change because this really depends on what area of life you're looking to improve. So hopefully that helps. Come on, guys. Somebody have the courage, ask a question. I'm in.
You talked about what you used to do in your past. Did you have any aha moments? And if you did, what were they?
Yeah, several.
You want to change your life?
Yeah, so I was a drug dealer for a long time. And, drug dealers, as you can imagine, hang out with other drug dealers. All my friends are drug dealers. Prior to that, I was in the Navy, and I was part of a very special community. And the nickname for the community I was in was actually Men of Honor. They actually made a movie called Men of Honor about the community that I was in. And it was like a fraternity, a brotherhood. And it taught me a lot. I mean, it taught me the importance of discipline, attention to detail, the importance of having high standards, and just a lot of the things that I learned in the military, I still implement today in my life and in my business. But when I was in that chapter of my life and hanging out with other drug dealers, a lot of the people that I was hanging out with started to get in trouble, started to get sent to prison, and they all started to cooperate and snitch on each other. And I was seeing this, and I was just like, I was repulsed by it, mortified. I didn't think that I couldn't fathom how somebody could just destroy their own friend's life because they weren't willing to be held accountable for their own actions. And I realized, obviously, that it was only a matter of time until that happened to me, which, of course, it did eventually. But yeah, it was just kind of like a realization that this is the I don't want to be associated with that. It disgusted me. I think, look, I'm not saying you guys are thinking, oh, well, you're criminals. And to a certain degree, there's a code of ethics in most kind of organized crime syndicates. But I just realized that I didn't want to be someone who was known to have a reputation of just being willing to fuck other people over because I wasn't man enough to take responsibility for my own actions. So there was that. And then, when I joined the military, again, it changed my life. This is a really important thing. I'm glad I thought to say this. It changed my life because it taught me so many things. But the most important thing that it did, the most powerful thing that it did for me, which I didn't realize until after I got out, is it got me out of my normal environment. So I grew up in Boston, and I don't know, I couldn't really hear, but I've been arrested over 20 times. I was arrested 17 times prior to my 18th birthday. And my senior year in high school, I was given an ultimatum by the state of Massachusetts to either go to jail or join the military. So I joined the military, and getting out of the environment that was making me sick, I mean, it changed everything. I was able to elevate my frequency, reprogram my mind, and just basically become a better version of myself because I didn't have that energy and that influence and those circumstances. And make no mistake about it. It wasn't like, oh, I'm in this position and all these people are making me bad. I was the worst amongst my peer group, okay, if I'm being completely honest. But just being able to go to a different place and begin to work on creating an identity was massive for me. And, I'd also moved from Jacksonville, Florida to here about 12 years ago and saw a big come up as well in my personal and professional growth. So, you guys got one more? Hi.
Hi. Thank you for your talk. So I'm a firm believer that men and women move through life differently with different energies, and they approach this success through their own masculine energy or feminine energy. Mm-hmm. So have you considered how maybe your laws apply differently to women versus how they apply to men? I
think a law is a law. I think it's universally applied. some of the things, regarding forgiveness or keeping the receipts, I definitely understand that that's more of a masculine mentality. That's just kind of a little extra that I threw in there for those of you who might find something like that beneficial. All of these laws, when applied, are going to produce the results that one is looking for, because it's a process, it's a strategy. And when these things are done, you're deliberately taking action to become the best version of yourself. It's not objective. When you get in better shape and you're healthy and you're in fantastic physical condition, when you're proud of your body, you're going to feel better, you're going to be healthier, you're going to be optimized. Same thing when you're putting good information in your brain every single day. You're training your mind to operate at a higher level. That's egregious. You get that. There we go. And I think that the laws are the laws, and they basically apply and work regardless if you were born with a penis or vagina.
So what's
You're
your
welcome.
reset? How do you reset your own system?
What's that?
What's your reset? How do you reset, reboot? Is it daily, intentional work, or monthly?
Everything has to be daily, right? It's easier to do something every day than it is to do once in a while. So the reset, it's not really a reset per se. It's a replacement process. Because when you're removing things from your life, a lot of people think going to the next level requires doing more. And sometimes it does. Other times, a lot of times, it is removing things. And in order to remove things that are not serving you, you have to replace it with a positive habit that does. Guys, unfortunately, they've cut the lights. I've never had that happen before. This is a first. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.